Today you'll meet the Neftis that are involved with every aspect and nuance of our daily life. Osiris, Isis, Seth, and Neftis, who are revealed at the end of the IUNU creation myth. These cosmic laws are highly interactive, and while they're involved with the whole of creation, they are what largely helps you create your own reality. In part 1, we saw how the atom, space, and time were created, and how matter was formed and things began to move around. I introduced you to 6 of the all-embracing laws that only an enlightened master can have any influence over. But the Neftis I present today are intimately involved in your daily existence, and indeed, through them, we can shape and enjoy our lives. Now, I'm sure you've already heard many stories about them, but now let me present you to the characters as I understand them. Each of the Neftis function on 3 different levels: the universal, the earthly, and the human. And for us as individuals, Osiris represents our personal contract. That is, the essential reasons why we chose to incarnate here on Earth. This contract and all of its details were drawn up before your conception and include when and where you were born, your parents and their situations, etc. Unlike a play script where everything is predetermined and nothing can be changed, your contract is quite flexible and can be seen more like a wish list where all the things you wanted to experience in this lifetime are written down. The way you come to experience them is an adventure, as you must create or manifest whatever is needed within the framework of your chosen space and time. But that's only one aspect of Osiris, who has more names and titles than any other Neftis, and that's because the range and diversity of his capacities are so great. Indeed, he became the most important and revered Neftis, serving as a role model for the king and the means to escape from eternal recurrence for the entire population. That's because Osiris governs the cyclical process of nature, from seed below ground to seed above ground. This cycle applies to all living creatures, including mankind, and the only way to break out of it is by cultivating his son Horus, who we'll get to later. But now we need to move on to his twin sister and wife, Isis. Isis is the second most popular Neftis, and being twin to Osiris, they work together in extremely close partnership. As a male principle, Osiris' functions are restricted or bound, like the contents of your contract. So on the human level, the female principle, Isis, must provide everything needed to fulfill that contract. To do this, her principal function is invocation, a word rarely used today, but it comes from the Latin invocare, meaning to give voice to. And it's an appeal that resonates throughout the entire universe. In modern terms, you could say the voicing of desire, which sets in motion the process of attraction. In the teaching of Abraham Hicks, the law of attraction effectively refers to Isis. However, in the temple teaching, she is the invocation of what is desired, which then sets the attraction in motion. Often called Great of Magic, Isis is the 7th Neftis to be revealed, and brings us the number 7, which is closely associated with magic. This number finds its expression in the notes of the musical scale, the colors of the spectrum, and the days of the week, which derive from the visible planets. In sacred geometry, the seven-pointed star cannot be created with the compass and straight edge, so Isis is considered a virgin neter, who was later adopted into Christianity as the Virgin Mary. Isis and Osiris are among the netters you'll see the most in the temples, tombs, sculpture, and literature of ancient Egypt. And that's because they work in the visible, manifest realms, the external world, whereas Seth and Neftis remain quite shadowy since they operate in the invisible and internal realms. And indeed, most often when Seth is mentioned, it's in a negative context. Why is this? On the human level, Seth is your instinct, your means to survival on Earth, and as such he is your innate consciousness, which operates completely unseen and largely unacknowledged. Seth is the most misunderstood and maligned of all the netters, because he works exclusively in darkness, unknown and hidden from the ego, which will only create havoc if it gets involved. And indeed, so much of the conflict and illness that we see in the world today is the result of the ego's disruptive interference in Seth's private domain, making him unable to function as he was designed to. For this reason, the great sages chose to depict him in a totally unrecognizable form to prevent any associations coming from rational mind. Numerically, Seth represents the number 8, which is often associated with King Solomon, who held extraordinary powers and could communicate with animals, birds, and plants. 8 is the double of 4, the number of Geb, so the materialistic nature of Seth is greatly multiplied. This number is also associated with stability and balance, and turning it sideways, it becomes the symbol for eternity. This brings us to Neftis, twin sister and wife of Seth, who's often barely visible in wall reliefs and paintings, as she stands behind her sister Isis, looking like her shadow, which symbolically is quite relevant as she too operates in the shadowy, unseen realms. On the human level, Neftis is intuition and all other psychic faculties. Intuition provides you with solid, correct information that comes to you without any mind activity. Therefore, her role is your guide through life. When you can hear her quiet voice and follow her advice, she will always lead you to what you instinctively need, since she is the provider for Seth, just as Isis is for Osiris. Seth carefully operates and maintains your body like a chemical factory, so when a certain metal or mineral is deficient, Neftis immediately becomes aware of that and knows exactly where to find it. For example, if you're low on iron, she will intuitively lead you to red meat. For potassium, she will lead you to bananas, and so on. Basically, Isis and Osiris govern your outer, visible life, your goals and achievements, whereas Seth and Neftis regulate your health and survival on Earth. The IUNU myth ends here. However, I wish to add one more netter as a conclusion, and that is Horus. Horus is the son of Isis and Osiris, and numerically brings the number 10. Here, the magic of number is clearly apparent, as 10 consists of the number 1 of Atum, followed by the 0 of Nu. It is therefore a reversal of the natural order established in the myth, because a 0 placed before another number has no value at all, whereas when it's placed after a number, it multiplies its value by 10 times. The exceptional nature of Horus represents cosmic consciousness in man. So while Atum can instantly manifest from the void of Nu behind him, Horus has all of these unrealized possibilities standing before him. He is the master magician, number 1 in the tarot deck. Well, that concludes my introduction to the Neftis revealed in the IUNU creation myth. And coming up shortly, I'll make videos on each one individually where I can go into much more detail. So when you enjoyed today's presentation, please click on the like and subscribe buttons, and you can also support the channel through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below. And as ever, thank you for watching, and I look forward to reading your comments and questions also in the description below. Thank you.